Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So at some point in the coming weeks, the Social Security Administration will be announcing what the next cost of living adjustment increase is going to be looking like. But right now, with the government shutdown, we don't know exactly when that will be. But right now, we do actually have a new estimate, a new projection when the COLA will be released. Plus, in 10 states recipients of Social Security will see the highest Social Security increases next year in 2026. So in today's video, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know. But before we go ahead and dive into it for today, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into it for today. So once again, we are still in the midst of a government shutdown with really no end in sight at this point in time, and the Senate actually went home for the weekend. They were expected to come back to Washington next week on Monday or Tuesday, where they hope to maybe finally reach some sort of bipartisan deal, whether it's just a short-term basis or a long-term basis. So according to CBS News, Democrats and Republicans remain locked in a stalemate over how to reopen the government, with the Senate rejecting motions to advance competing bills for the seventh time on Thursday. The House-passed Republican bill failed to move forward in a 54-45 vote. 3 Democrats crossed the aisle, a number that had been unchanged since the shutdown began last week. The Senate will leave town until Tuesday, meaning the government shutdown will not be resolved this week. So they're going to be coming back on Tuesday instead of Monday, with Monday, I believe, actually being a federal holiday. So, with that said, it's going to be a while. It's going to be, we're going to be on day 13, day 14 of the shutdown with really no end in sight. Is it going to remain shut down throughout the month of October? We actually have some good news coming up in just a moment. As far as it goes, as far as the cost of living adjustment increase being announced, which before we thought that it might actually be a longer delay. Now they go on here to say that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said he remains confident in Democrats' negotiating position on insisting on the extension of health care subsidies, telling Punchbowl News that every day gets better for us as the shutdown continues. House Speaker Mike Johnson took calls from C-SPAN viewers during an appearance in the morning. The Democrats are the one that are preventing you from getting a check, he told one caller who expressed anger over the military potentially missing a paycheck next week on the 15th. And at the White House, President Trump said Democrats are using health care as cudgel and again threatened to cut programs if the shutdown does not end. So both sides are blaming each other for the shutdown. Who is going to come out on the short end of the stick, though, at least politically, especially with midterm elections coming up next year in 2026? Which side is going to look worse? Now, previously, we thought that because we had a government shutdown and the Bureau of Labor Statistics was also not going to be able to release key numbers such as inflation, we would also have a long delay as far as the next cost of living adjustment increase being announced, because the COLA increase revolves knowing what the inflation numbers for September were, and the September inflation numbers were supposed to be released on October 15th, coming up in just a couple of days. And since the Bureau of Labor Statistics was not working and collecting numbers, we thought, this could actually be delayed by maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe even a month or longer than that. Well, we finally have an official date when we can expect these numbers to be released, and therefore know when we can expect what the cost of living adjustment increase is going to be as well. So according to Politico, the Department of Labor is recalling employees who were furloughed in the government shutdown to prepare the release of the Consumer Price Index for September, according to an administration official. The Bureau of Labor Statistics needs to compile the report so the Social Security Administration can calculate an annual cost of living adjustment that's linked to inflation, the official said. That adjustment needs to be published by November 1st, they said, and the CPI report for September had been scheduled for release on October 15th. So right now they are saying that it needs to be published by November 1st. November 1st looks like it is going to be the latest Whereas before, we didn't know whether it was going to be November 15th. We didn't know whether it was going to be December. Depending on how long the government was shut down. This thing could have dragged on, but now they're giving an official deadline of November 1st. Now they go on here to say that the Bureau said on Friday that the CPI will now be released on October 24th to allow SSA to meet statutory deadlines necessary to ensure the accurate and timely payment of benefits. Another key BLS report on payrolls and unemployment in September that had been scheduled for October 3rd actually remains on hold. So they are giving an official date there. October 24th is the date in which they are giving themselves to release this inflation data, giving, therefore, the Social Security Administration enough time to calculate what the cost of living adjustments are going to be for next year in 2026 and making sure that those cost of living adjustment increases go out on an on-time basis. So obviously that is very good news. October 24th is when we should expect the cost of living adjustment to be announced. Now, right now, they are projecting either 2.7 or 2.8% to be the cost of living adjustment next year in 2026. That would result in an average increase of right around $54 to $56 per month for the average retiree. However, in certain states, in 10 states, retirees or people receiving Social Security can actually expect to receive the largest raises, the largest increases next year in 2026. So we're going to be covering that list here by Mass Live. They say these 10 states will get the largest raises. So they say that retirees living in the 10 states with the highest Social Security benefits will see the largest COLAs thanks to a percentage system. According to the Motley Fool, based on Social Security Administration's annual statistical supplement data, the highest median Social Security benefits for retired workers include the following states. So the first state at number 1 is New Jersey, receiving $2,172 on average. The second state is Connecticut at $2,159. Then we have Delaware and New Hampshire coming in at $2,139 and $2,121. Then we also have Maryland, Michigan, and Washington at $2,084, $2,067, $2,061, and then finally we have Minnesota at $2,053, Massachusetts at $2,021, and Indiana at $2,016. Now, so far, as of just a couple of months ago, this year in 2025, the average benefit for retirees has been right around $2,008. So again, with an increase of 2.7 to 2.8%, what that would result in is an increase of right around $55 per month. So they go on here to say that a 2.7% COLA would result in an extra $54 per month for the average retired worker, increasing the monthly benefit from $2,008 up to $2,062. While the COLA increase is semi-predictable, the government shutdown complicates other moving parts essential to keeping the Social Security Administration running smoothly and serving beneficiaries. Prior to the shutdown, the Social Security Administration created a contingency plan indicating it would retain approximately 45,000 or 90% of its workforce during the shutdown while furloughing roughly 6,200 employees. But once again, we do have an official date. October 24th is when the Social Security cost of living adjustment increase is going to be announced. That is obviously good news because once again, before we didn't know whether it was going to come in November. We didn't know whether it was going to come as late as possibly December if the shutdown continues on. We also don't know when the government is going to reopen, when are Republicans and Democrats going to be able to reach a deal. We will have to wait and see. But with that said, leave your thoughts and comments below about everything that we discussed in today's video. I would definitely love to read them. But that's all we have for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.